My name is Jack Morgan. I've been a long-haul trucker for over 2 decades. You get used to a certain rhythm out here. The hum of the tires, the glow of the dashboard at night, the way the world shrinks down to you, the road, and the noise inside your own head. Some drivers talk to themselves, some go quiet. Me, I like the silence. But that silence, it changes when the road you're on doesn't make sense. It was supposed to be a regular week. Colorado Springs to Tulsa, basic freight, good weather. I just fueled up and was waiting on the final route confirmation when Ben, my dispatcher, called. "You want to make 3 times your usual?" he said. "No hello, no pleasantries." "Always," I replied. "What's the catch?" "We got a rush job, special load from a decommissioned government site just west of Cheyenne." That already sounded weird. "You'll be hauling a generator to a location in Kansas, Halter Creek." "Where the hell is Halter Creek?" "That's the thing. I can't find it on Google, but the company provided coordinates, said not to reroute." "What kind of company?" "Didn't say. But the documents are clean. Real paper, signed and stamped. Payment cleared instantly. Triple rate, Jack." There was a pause. The kind that makes your skin itch even when nothing's wrong yet. "You in?" Ben asked. I took a breath. Regret, it turns out, has a sound. It sounds like a tired man saying, "Yeah, I'm in." Pickup was scheduled at 7 p.m. The location was off-grid. No signage, no marked turnoff. Just a dirt path that cut through empty plains. I drove for nearly 30 minutes past the point where my GPS stopped showing anything but a white screen. When I saw the gates, I almost missed them. Rusted chain link, barbed wire at the top, a single booth beside it. No military insignia, no federal warnings. Just a single sign nailed crookedly to the post. Authorized entry only. A man in a dull green jacket stepped out of the booth as I pulled up. He didn't smile, didn't wave, just handed me a clipboard with forms already filled out. "You're Morgan?" he asked. "Yeah." "Sign here. Then back the rig up to the black container behind the shed." "What exactly am I hauling?" "Doesn't concern you." He said it so flatly I didn't bother asking again. I signed the paper. He didn't even look at it, just grabbed it and turned to walk away. Then he stopped, didn't look back, just said, "Don't stop after midnight." Those 5 words didn't hit me until later. At the time, I laughed under my breath. Some military bravado, maybe. Or a joke. It wasn't. The load was already secured. Big black container, size of a small car, sealed at every edge with steel clasps. It vibrated faintly when I touched it, like an old refrigerator running too long. I climbed back into the cab and checked my route. Nothing showed. No address, no city, just a long set of coordinates, punched directly into the nav system that had come pre-installed in the truck. One I hadn't touched in years. The screen blinked. Then a calm female voice spoke. "Proceed to Route 97. Estimated arrival, 3:44 a.m. I frowned. I'd never driven Route 97. Didn't even know there was a Route 97 in Kansas. But I shifted into gear anyway, because that's what you do when you've already signed your name. The first 2 hours were uneventful. I left the plains and entered hill country. The road was smooth, though it narrowed as I went. Trees grew thicker on both sides, swallowing moonlight. There were no other vehicles, no lights in the distance, just long stretches of empty road and the feeling that I was getting further and further from anything. Every 30 minutes or so, a sign appeared. Faded green, numbers barely readable. Route 97, east, just that. No mile markers, no exits, no towns. By 10:45 p.m., I noticed the first glitch. My GPS screen blinked once, then went black. Dead. Then the radio, which I hadn't touched, crackled to life. At first it was just static. Then I heard it. "Jack." I turned the volume knob. Nothing changed. "You're not the first." The voice was slow, distorted, familiar in a way that made my stomach tighten, like someone imitating my voice. Or, like me. I reached over and yanked the power cable. The radio was already unplugged. At 11:12, I passed a road sign I could have sworn I'd already seen. Site 97, 37 miles, same wooden post, same peeling paint, same angle in the ditch. 15 minutes later, another. Site 97, 37 miles. No decrease in distance, no change in direction, just a repeat, like a loop. At 11:30, I saw headlights in my side mirror. Relief washed over me. Another driver, finally. I blinked. The headlights were gone. Nothing behind me. No engine hum, no taillights, just trees, and fog beginning to roll in low over the road. Midnight struck like a hammer. My truck lurched, as if something massive had dropped into the trailer. The engine coughed but didn't die. Dashboard lights flickered. The entire cab glowed orange for half a second, then dimmed, and I felt it. A vibration, not from the road, from under the floorboards, like something pulsing, alive. I considered stopping, but the guard's voice echoed in my skull. "Don't stop after midnight." And my instincts, the ones that kept me alive this long, screamed, "Keep going." At 12:17 a.m., I spotted a building ahead, a gas station, old, shuttered, neon flickering, open 24 hours. Except it wasn't. I slowed. That's when the engine died. No sputter, no warning, just silence. I stepped out. The air was thick, smelled like copper. No crickets, no wind, just the faint hum of something behind me, in the trailer. The gas station door stood ajar. Light glowed from inside, pale and yellow. I pushed it open. A bell above the door let out a hollow chime. There was a man behind the counter, older, weathered, in a flannel shirt and hat. Didn't look up. "You're late," he said. "You know me?" I asked. He finally met my eyes. His pupils were wide, too wide. "You're Jack. They always send a Jack." I froze. "What is this place?" He smiled, slowly, sadly. "The last stop you'll ever pass." Then he turned toward the back door, walked through it. I followed. There was no back door, just wall, just darkness. And when I turned back, the station was empty. I ran to the truck. The engine was idling, headlights on. Inside the cab, the passenger seat was warm, depressed slightly, as if someone had been sitting there. I didn't sleep that night, didn't rest, didn't eat. Just sat in the cab of the truck, staring out through the windshield into the black beyond the high beams. Fog had rolled in thick now, clinging to the trees, curling like smoke across the asphalt. I didn't know what time it was. My phone had died. The dashboard clock just blinked. I tried to turn the truck off. No response. I tried shifting into reverse. Nothing. Only one gear worked. Drive. so I drove. The road twisted tighter now. No mile markers, no other signs of life. Every now and then, I'd see the same rusted gas station sign, off in the trees, even though I'd been driving for nearly an hour away from it. Site 97, 37 miles still, always. 37 miles. Time didn't work right out here. I passed a tree with a split trunk, like a giant wishbone. 15 minutes later, I passed it again. Same shape, same branch broken off halfway. It wasn't just the signs repeating, it was everything. Then I heard the knocking. 3 taps, somewhere behind the cab, rhythmic, soft. At first I thought it was the trailer chains, maybe a loose hook slapping against the frame. But then I heard it again. 3 taps, pause, then 4, then 1. Like a code. I turned the music off, though I didn't remember turning it on in the first place. There was no music, just the knocking and the sound of my own breath in the tight dark of the cab. Around 2:10 a.m., or what I think was 2:10, I saw another set of headlights ahead. A truck and pulled over to the right side of the road, hazards blinking. I slowed as I approached, looked identical to mine. Same make, same year, except the license plate. It read TX3JM04. That was my plate. I stopped. I stepped down from the cab slowly, boots crunching wet gravel. The other truck sat silent, still. The windows were fogged, but I saw a figure inside, driver's side. He was slumped forward, forehead against the wheel, hands tight on the rim. "Hey!" I called. No answer. I stepped closer, heart hammering. The engine still idled behind me. Every instinct told me to turn around, but I kept going. As I neared the window, the man moved, quickly. He snapped his head up. It was my face, not just similar. Mine. Exactly. Right down to the small scar under my left eye, from a bar fight in Amarillo 10 years ago. He grinned, wide, unnatural. And then he reached up and turned off the headlights. Darkness swallowed the truck. I stumbled backward, nearly slipped. By the time I caught myself, the cab was empty. No man, no motion, no truck, just empty road. And the fog, thicker now, pressing against my chest like weight. I jumped back into my rig and slammed the door, threw it into drive. Didn't look back, not once. The road narrowed again, became barely more than a dirt path. Trees closed in on both sides. My mirrors showed only mist now. No signs, no numbers, no directions. But the road still pulled me forward, like I wasn't really driving anymore. At 3:02 a.m., I passed another truck stop. It was almost identical to the one from before. Same layout, same flickering neon sign. Only this one had people inside. 3 of them, all standing at the windows, watching. As I passed, the neon sign sparked and briefly showed something different. "Welcome back, Jack." I didn't stop, didn't blink. I knew that if I did, I'd never start again. About 20 minutes later, I saw a break in the trees. Open field, barbed wire fencing, a gate, and beyond it, massive floodlights. It looked like an abandoned military checkpoint. A steel sign stood just outside the gate, leaning at a slight angle. The letters rusted but still readable. Site 97. Authorized haulers only. The gate opened as I approached. No guards, no cameras, just the slow screech of metal and the black beyond it. The pavement changed, rougher. The lights from the rig barely lit the edges now. As I passed under the archway, I felt it, like crossing some invisible wall. The pressure in my ears shifted, like elevation change, or like going underwater. The air grew colder, the vibration from the trailer stronger. I reached to check the radio again. It was on. Even though I hadn't touched it, the voice that came through was mine, but older. "You've made it then." Static. We all did. Once. Then silence. I pulled into a large clearing, rows and rows of trucks, parked in a circle. Every single one black, same model, some covered in dust. Others looked, freshly arrived. I stepped out. The silence was absolute, like the air had weight, like the trees themselves were holding their breath. I approached the center of the circle. There was a small office, prefab trailer, lights off. The door creaked open. Inside, shelves lined with cassette tapes. Hundreds, all labeled by hand. J. Morgan, 01, J. Morgan, 2 J. Morgan, 03. I found one near the back, J. Morgan 37. The handwriting was my own. There was a player on the table. Old, dusty, plugged into a generator humming like a heartbeat. I pressed play. If you're hearing this, my voice, but tired, worn, different, then you followed the road just like I did, just like all of us. I don't know where it goes. I don't think there's a way out. I tried. I really tried. There's something in the trailer, something alive, feeding off the road, feeding off me. I thought I could beat it. Thought if I ignored the signs, stayed quiet, I could finish the route. But there is no finish. There's only here. The recording ended. I sat there for a long time. No thoughts, no plan, just the weight of it all, pressing down like the fog outside. Then I saw it, a new tape, on the desk, no label, blank, and beside it, a pen, waiting. I don't know how long I sat there. Could have been minutes, could have been hours. Time didn't mean anything in that place. Outside the office, the fog had thickened, swallowing the circle of parked trucks. Their black bodies loomed like statues, silent, watching. Inside, just me, a table, and a blank cassette. I stared at the pen beside it. Not a fancy pen, just a ballpoint. But it looked old, like it had passed through too many hands. And I knew what I was supposed to do. Label it, name it, add it to the shelf. I didn't. I stepped out into the cold air, walked through the fog, and reached my truck. I sat behind the wheel and gripped it hard. Like it might disappear. The key was still in the ignition. I didn't remember leaving it there. I turned it. The engine roared to life, instantly. No sputter, no lag, as if it had been waiting. The headlights cut a narrow tunnel through the mist. Ahead, the gate stood open again, leading back onto Route 97. Back the way I came. Back. Home. I shifted into reverse. The gear didn't catch. I tried again. Nothing. Only forward. Only drive. I pulled out of the clearing and back onto the road. Same fog, same trees, same road signs, even though there shouldn't be any. Site 97, 37 miles. Still, even after leaving. Still 37. The radio turned on again. I didn't touch it. My voice came through, but younger, less strained. I remembered that voice. It was me from a long time ago. If you're hearing this, you're close. There's one last turn. Don't miss it. You won't get another chance. Then silence, then static. I saw it 5 minutes later, a fork in the road. Left, unmarked gravel disappearing into the woods. Right, a clean curve back onto paved highway. I recognized it. Route 385. That was real. I'd driven it before. I didn't hesitate. I turned left. Gravel crunched under the tires. The trees here were older, taller, thicker. Branches reached toward the cab like fingers. I kept driving. The air turned heavy. My chest ached. The generator in the trailer throbbed louder. A low, deep hum, pulsing in sync with my heartbeat. My hands started to shake. Then I saw them. People, on both sides of the road, standing between the trees, not moving, just watching. Their faces were pale, blank, familiar. One of them, I swear, had my face. Not similar, exact. I kept my eyes forward, didn't look again, didn't stop. The road narrowed into dirt, then into something else, something not built by hands. Roots jutted from beneath, rocks twisted in unnatural angles. And then, ahead, a wide clearing. One final structure stood in the center, a warehouse. Rusted, gigantic, no windows, one sliding door, half open, and inside, darkness that felt alive. The truck rolled forward without me pressing the pedal. The headlights dimmed. The dashboard flickered. I could feel it now. Something moving in the trailer, heavy, breathing, like a sleeping animal disturbed by light. I killed the engine, stepped out. The warehouse loomed. Inside, the air was cold, stagnant. It smelled like metal and wet concrete. The floor was smooth and black, like it had been burned long ago. In the center of the room, a raised platform. On it, a single chair, facing a reel-to-reel recorder, already running. I stepped closer. A red light blinked slowly, recording. The tape inside was labeled Jack Morgan, 38. I looked at the chair, then at the walls. Tapes, thousands of them, lined in rows, stacked in corners, piled like bricks. Jack Morgan, 01, Jack Morgan, 02, Jack Morgan, 03, Jack Morgan, 112, Jack Morgan, 192, Jack Morgan, 309. I backed away. Then I heard it, footsteps, coming from behind me. But when I turned, no one, just fog, and that red light, still blinking. I sat in the chair. I don't know why. It felt inevitable. The tape rolled, the wheels turned. I leaned toward the mic, and for the first time I didn't speak. I listened, and what I heard chilled me. A dozen voices, all my own, layered together, distorted, damaged, saying the same thing. We tried. You can't leave. We're not real anymore. Not Jack. Just the next one. I screamed. No sound came out. When I opened my eyes, I was behind the wheel again. Bright daylight, blue sky, clean dashboard. The road stretched ahead, dry and endless. Just a truck, just a road, like nothing had happened. The GPS showed a destination, Halter Creek, Kansas. Arrival ETA 3:44, and I gripped the wheel. In the mirror, my face stared back, but it didn't look like mine anymore. Not completely. There was something missing behind the eyes, something hollow, something erased. The radio clicked on. A voice came through. Not mine, but close, very close. If you're hearing this, you've already taken the road. Welcome to Site 97. My name's Garrett Lorne. I've been driving trucks for over 16 years. Freight, livestock, trailers, military surplus. You name it, I've pulled it. I know the roads across this country better than I know my own voice, but I'd never felt scared out there. Not really. Not until last Tuesday night. That was the night I drove across Nevada, alone, and the only voice I heard on Channel 19 was one that shouldn't have been there. I'd picked up a late load from Reno, medical supplies, standard stuff. Destination, Salt Lake City. I'd done the route a dozen times before. Fastest way, I-80 east through the desert. Nothing but stars, dead towns, and the long hum of the highway. I wasn't worried about time. I was more concerned with staying awake. I'd been on the road for close to 11 hours already, and caffeine was starting to burn holes in my stomach lining. But I figured I could push through until at least Wells, maybe catch a nap there before dawn. At around 10:43 p.m., I flicked on the CB, just for noise. Channel 19, trucker standard, silence. Not even static, just dead air. That's rare. Even in the emptiest stretches, you'll catch bits of chatter. Guys bitching about traffic, talking weather, throwing jokes, code warnings for highway patrol, even just keying the mic for company. But there was nothing, for at least 30 minutes. I was somewhere near Pequot Summit when I finally heard it. A soft click, then a voice. Hello, can anyone hear me? Male voice, maybe late 30s, calm, too calm. If anyone hears this, I'm near mile marker 238, I think. I think I lost the road. The voice cut out. No engine noise in the background. No CB squelch. Just off. I grabbed the mic. Breaker, this is Lone Pine eastbound. Copy that? You say 238? No answer. I'm eastbound on 80, about 20 miles out. You in trouble, driver? Still silence. I waited a full minute, then tried again. Nothing. I figured maybe he had an old rig. Weak signal. Maybe he was just drifting out of range. Still, I slowed a bit. Mile marker 238 wasn't far. At 11:12, I saw it. A beat-up Peterbilt, older model, parked on the shoulder, cab dark, hazards off. I pulled in behind it, switched on my flashers, and grabbed a flashlight. As I stepped out, I immediately noticed something wrong. No tire tracks. No footprints in the sand beside the door. The rig was coated in a fine layer of desert dust, like it had been sitting there for days, but the engine was still warm. I climbed up and knocked on the driver's side window. No answer. I opened the door. Empty. The cab was neat, old but clean. Jacket folded over the passenger seat. A coffee cup in the holder, half full. CB radio still on. I leaned closer. Channel 19 was active. I heard breathing. I can't see the road anymore. I don't know where I turned off. I looked around. There was no one in the cab. I stepped back, heart thudding now. Grabbed my phone, no signal. Looked again inside the cab. Glove box closed, nothing in the seats. Keys gone. Whoever had been driving. They weren't there now. And yet, the CB was still transmitting. I jumped back in my truck, locked the doors, and took off. The voice came through again 20 minutes later. Same man, same calm tone. If anyone hears this, I'm still out here. I've been out here a long time. I see headlights, but they never stop. Please, if you hear me, key your mic, just so I know someone's real. His voice cracked on that last word. Real. I reached for my mic, but stopped. Something was wrong. That voice wasn't coming through like a regular CB. There was no signal meter, no static, no range drop-off. It sounded like he was inside my cab, like he was speaking from behind my seat. I turned slowly. Nothing. By midnight, I was shaking. The desert around me had turned alien. Too quiet. The moon looked like it wasn't moving. The CB stayed on. The man kept talking. It's cold out here. Not like desert cold. Deeper. Like the kind that seeps into your bones. I thought I saw someone standing by the median, but when I stopped, they were already in my mirror. I think the road forgot me. That line stuck. The road forgot me. I finally keyed the mic. Driver, I hear you. I passed 238. You're not there. I saw your rig, but no one was inside. Silence, then, no, I'm still here. You just didn't stop long enough. I almost slammed the brakes. I hadn't told him I stopped. I hadn't said anything about his truck. I swallowed hard. Who are you? I'm just another voice now. That's all that's left. They don't find your body. You don't get to leave. You just echo. So many out here, stuck between mile markers. I turned off the CB, dead silence. Not even static. The air was thicker now. My ears felt full. I drove for another hour, barely breathing. No cars, no lights. Just the hum of the engine and the feeling that something was following just behind me. Out of view. At 1:33 a.m., the CB turned itself back on. No volume, no power light, just a voice. You're almost to Wells. Don't pull off. Even if you see someone waving. The town came into view 10 minutes later. A few scattered lights, a closed diner, one gas station, and a man on the side of the road, waving both arms. I didn't stop. I didn't slow down. As I passed, I saw his face. Same man, same jacket from the Peterbilt, mouth moving, eyes wide, but no sound. And in my mirror, nothing. No man, no gas station, just more desert. I hit Salt Lake at dawn, turned in the paperwork, didn't say a word. I slept in the back of the truck for 12 straight hours, door locked, CB off. When I woke up, I checked local records. There had been 12 missing persons along I-80 near marker 238 in the last 8 years. Most were truckers. All vanished between midnight and 3 a.m. I don't drive nights anymore. Not in Nevada, not anywhere near the summit. And I don't turn on Channel 19 unless there are people around. Because sometimes, when the road gets too quiet, that voice comes back, asking if I can hear him. And I do. My name's Ray Collar. I've driven everything from flatbeds to reefers, hauled cargo from border to border, rain, snow, or desert heat. I don't scare easy. I don't believe in ghost stories. But something about that night made the hairs on my arms stand up in a way I couldn't explain. It started with a trailer and ended with a voice that shouldn't have known my name. I picked up the load just after 8:30 p.m. outside Texarkana. Private warehouse. No logos. The guy who met me didn't even introduce himself. Just handed me papers, asked me to sign. The load was marked as special equipment, sensitive. No hazard labels, no weight class noted. Leave the seals intact, the guy said. Don't open the trailer for any reason. I've heard that before. Usually it's high-dollar electronics or medicine. Sometimes it's just over-obsessed clients. But this guy looked off, tired, sweaty, even though it was 60 degrees out. He didn't meet my eyes when I asked what kind of equipment it was. Just turned and walked back inside the building. I did my walk around. The trailer looked ordinary. White, unmarked, well-maintained. The seal on the back was a bright blue plastic strip, numbered and barcoded. I checked it, confirmed it against the paperwork. Locked and tagged, everything was legal. I pulled out onto the road and merged onto I-30 eastbound. Destination, Little Rock, about 140 miles. Easy night. I figured I'd be parked with coffee in hand before midnight. An hour in, somewhere between Hope and Prescott, I started hearing the noises. First, it was a soft thump, like something shifting in the trailer. Could have been cargo settling. Then came the dragging sound, like wood across metal. And then, scratching, deliberate, repetitive. Not random movement, more like something was testing the walls. I tapped the brakes, pulled onto the shoulder, walked around with my flashlight. Seal intact, no dents. Everything looked the same. I stood there a full minute, listening. Nothing, just wind. Crickets. The hum of the truck's engine. I got back in the cab and drove on. 30 minutes later, the sounds returned. Louder this time. More thumping, then tapping. And I swear, I heard something breathe. Slow, deep, wet. It didn't make sense. The trailer was locked. There was no airflow system, no power to it. But I knew what I heard. I turned on the interior camera feed. A tiny lens was mounted in the trailer. Not great resolution, but usually good enough to see what's what. The screen stayed black. No signal. I hit the brakes, hard. I was near a rest area, middle of nowhere. One flickering light above a soda machine. Deserted. I stepped out, heart pounding. This time I banged on the trailer door. "Hey, if someone's back there, you're not supposed to be." No answer, no movement. Still, I unlocked the padlock and cracked the door. Just enough to peek. My flashlight cut through the space. Empty. Bare metal floor. Smooth walls. No crates. Nothing at all. The trailer was completely empty. That's when the smell hit me. Rot. Old copper. Something wet and wrong. It passed after a second. Gone. Like it had never been there. I shut the door. Checked the seal. Still intact. I locked it again. Double-checked it. Then I stood there just listening. Nothing. Back in the cab, I sat still for a while. Engine running. I should have called dispatch. I should have turned around. Instead, I kept going. Because I didn't want to admit I was rattled. Because I didn't want to seem crazy. Just past midnight, the phone rang. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. A minute later, a second call. Same number. Then a voicemail notification. I hit play. It was my voice. "Ray, why did you open the trailer?" My hands went ice cold. The message lasted 6 seconds. That was all. I checked the number. It was my own. My personal cell. My SIM card. Somehow, I had just left myself a voicemail, except I hadn't. I pulled over again, panic creeping now. I called the number back. Call failed, no signal, but the cab GPS was still working. Radio 2. I sat there, jaw clenched, phone in my lap, when another voicemail arrived. I didn't even hear the phone ring. Again, my voice. "It's in the trailer now, with you. Don't stop again. If you stop again, it'll get out." The message cut off. No distortion, no static. Just me, speaking words I never said. I slammed the truck into gear and drove. Hard. I kept my eyes locked on the mirror, my ears sharp, but I didn't hear anything. Not anymore. Then around 12:50 a.m., the camera feed blinked on. Just for a second. Not long, but enough to see it. Something hunched in the trailer, far back, motionless. its head tilted, arms too long, curled in like branches. No face, just skin. It vanished the moment the screen lit up. No signal back again. I kept going. Didn't even blink. I made it to the edge of Little Rock just after 1:30. Warehouse was locked, no signs, no lights. Just a keypad on the gate, blinking red. I entered the code on the paperwork. The gate opened. Inside, one man waiting by the dock. No uniform, no clipboard, just a face I didn't trust. "You're late," he said. I didn't answer. Just opened the back. The trailer was empty. Completely. Again, no sound, no smell. The man nodded. "That's what we expected." He handed me a signed form. No questions, no explanation. I left without a word. That night I parked at a rest stop south of town. When I woke up in the morning, the phone had 3 new voicemails. All from my number. All with no audio. Just 6 seconds of silence. I played one, listened closely, and at the very end, just before it cut off, I heard breathing. I haven't hauled for that company since. I don't even know if they were real. I've changed my number. I smashed the interior camera system the next day. But sometimes, when I drive at night, I hear faint noises in the back. A soft tap, a scraping, and I never ever check. Because I know what I'll find.